My name is Clarence. I live at 2690 Signal Road, Newton.
Hood is H-O-O-D.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay, please proceed with your thought.
Well, I serve as chairman of our agricultural advisory board in Catawba County, and also I'm vice president of Catawba County Farm Bureau. And I want to thank the Utilities Commission members for coming over here in America and listening to the citizens in this region concerning proposed electricity rate increases. And I'm here to speak on behalf of agribusiness and farmers in my county, and I think the comments I have will apply to most agricultural enterprises in this part of the state. We have, of course, in North Carolina, most people don't realize it, but it's a $70 billion plus industry, that is agribusiness. And it's the number one industry, number one provider of income in North Carolina. And tourism, I believe, is number two. Military is number two, and tourism, I think, is number three. And it's a growing enterprise. It's a vision that even our governor talks about increasing up to $120 billion in the next 20 years. So, while this rate increase significantly impacts agriculture, a steady decrease in technical support that Duke Energy provides agriculture is of equal, if not greater, concern to us in agriculture. I want to briefly review the history of a successful partnership between utility companies and agriculture that began back in the 1950s. Agricultural engineers were employed by utilities to advise farmers on efficient electricity use and how to best select electrical equipment for their operation. We can go across our farms even here today in the western part of the state and still see the central pole systems that put up where farmers back up and hook up their generators to supply electricity to the farm. So there's you might say, a footprint of what these engineers did over the years is still with us today. Well, in the 1960s through the 80s, I had a conversation with one of the managers of the agricultural engineering program, and he described to me that they had around 10 agricultural engineers serving Duke in the North and South Carolina area. Carolina Power and Light Company had a similar support program. Well, we fast forward here to early 2013, and there's only one agricultural support position remaining with Duke Energy in what is called the Agricultural Market Program. And the title of this individual is Agricultural Specialist Account Manager. Well, Duke Energy recently announced that this last position is being eliminated, so there will be no one who farmers can contact directly day or night to deal with electrical issues. Well, in addition to supporting farm operations, this Ag Market Program technical person has led the nationally recognized 4-H electric congress in North and South Carolina. And this program teaches energy conservation and safe electricity to our youth. I think since in the 40s, this has been a very successful program. Through this program, Duke has had linked with FFA programs, Future Farmers of America, across our state, and in South Carolina as well, and with NC State University, North Carolina A&T State University, and Clemson University, and farm organizations such as North Carolina and South Carolina Farm Bureaus, and the Agribusiness Council, and the Soil and Water Conservation District Program. And it's critical that we keep this agricultural market program. In fact, it needs to be expanded, not curtailed. And let me give just one example of this need for one of the fastest growing farm enterprises in this state, in this part of the state, and maybe across the state for that matter, is the poultry broiler industry. Growers need independent advice and technical assistance in upgrading existing and poultry houses with energy efficient lighting and ventilation equipment. And for new construction, the typical broiler house, and again, these figures I'm going to give you are figures that I've obtained, and approximate figures. But the typical house, poultry house, people don't realize has about 25,000 chicks in it, or eventually chickens that will be raised out maybe 4 or 5 flocks per year. The cost of one of these houses, anywhere between $200,000 and $250,000 per house to construct and then build these units, and they're typically built in 4 or 6 units. And this is a single location usually. And the owners of the two of the newest family operations in our county came out of the home construction business. They came out of something that was depressed. They went into agriculture, and they started poultry farms with no previous poultry production experience. One of them has only been in business, I'd say, about 3 years, and he has 14 houses. Another family has 6 houses. And they depended on the ag market program technical support from Duke to make wise decisions in purchasing and installing equipment in these new facilities. Suppose you're a typical producer with 6 houses, 150,000 birds laid at one time, and you have a license tract or other electrical issue with no ability to feed or cool your chickens. You need a person you can call Duke Energy day or night to resolve this issue, and not an answering machine. It just won't cut it. We're talking about a lot of money on the line. We're talking about animals that are facing death if something doesn't happen. One poultry integrator has announced plans to expand the number of broiler houses by 200 over the next 2 years. And farmers will need technical support from Duke Energy to make this happen. And this is great, if you think about all the investment that's going to be in 200 houses, how many jobs that's going to create, how many people in transportation will be involved in this. It's going to be a great thing for this area. It comes back, but there's going to be help, it's going to be required. And in terms of the impact of the proposed rate increase on agriculture, in particular for poultry farmers, a typical broiler house in this area consumes somewhere around 50,000 kilowatt hours per year. And if we think about a rate of about 7.9 cents per kilowatt hour, we're talking about $3,900 per year to operate a chicken house. If you've got 6 houses, it doesn't take long to get over $20,000 tied up in an electric bill. In summary, in our current economic environment, agriculture is the economic sector pulling our economy along. Now is not the time to terminate the Duke Energy agriculture market program nor increase rates. I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to share this concern this evening.
Mr. Good, one more question.
Yes, sir.
When you have one of these broiler houses and the power is interrupted, and you have power outage, how long does it take before the chicks start dying?
Well, it's required by integrated that you have a generator for, particularly, it requires a generator for 2 to 4 houses. That's the reason it requires that you build at least 4 houses at a time, because you've got this tremendous investment in a generator and a computer. But you can have other things happen. Not necessarily, things can happen that cause electrical surges and things that they don't have control over. The generator will not solve that problem. Also, static electricity is another major issue where you have animals from dairies and things like that. And this person has always been the one that's called to help detect where that electrical problem is coming from.
And my question is, are these chicks very vulnerable so that they die soon after this power problem if it doesn't fix?
Well, I can tell you this, when they run out of feed, and then the feed comes back on, these chickens will run there and smother themselves to death if you don't regulate the light properly. And the feed to gradually bring them back on forward. So it's very critical how you handle it. So to say how long it will take before the chicks die, I can't answer your question precisely. But I do know it's very critical that you have this energy supply and you keep all this equipment and then this computer operating to function, and you know what lighting does to the computer.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir. The agricultural advisory positions, you say, Duke is planning to eliminate. Have you or someone with your board talked with them about that?
Yes, sir, it's very much, I've already sent a letter to Duke Energy, we have a reply from them, and, yes, we've been working on this for several months. We just felt like this is an opportunity that we need to share this with.
What has been their reply?
Their reply was that, I would summarize it kind of this way, that they felt like they had other technical people that could handle this problem. Our position is that we need a person night or day that can be called to deal with this, not an answering machine, not and a person that has experience with biological systems, and that's what these agricultural engineers are trained for. They have the program at NC State, they continue there to offer BS graduates to do an excellent job at this. And it's just unfortunate over the years, this kind of converged down to one position, and now it's everything.
The other technical people who said they would have available, would they be available 24/7?
I cannot answer that. The only thing I know is my experience in life is if I know a person that I can call, and I've got my cell phone, and I can reach them by the day, and they don't mind me calling, that's who we call. But an answer machine, they just, or fire on, that sort of thing just wouldn't work for we have a critical need like this. It's almost like a hospital in the sense that it's if not humanized.
Did Duke seem to still be willing to consider some type of arrangement that would be helpful?
I think you need to ask them that question, sir. I can't answer that. But we haven't made our case to try to do them in a letter form and other means.
Thanks, sir.
Ms. Hood, so, as I understand you, right now, there's just one person in this position that the departments can call, right? That all do.
That's my understanding. I'm taking an oath here. So I only know what I know.
And how long, to your knowledge, how long has it been just one person?
I can't answer that, ma'am. It's been several years, but I can't answer that question. Sorry.
So several years, in your experience or in your knowledge, you know, has that relationship with the one person, has that been successful? Is that effective? Having just the one person?
Well, it's not effective in covering the, we have the merger of properties. If you kind of like our life, and like I say, years ago, we had as many, in my recollection, 10